Hello there, welcome back to another edition of Pimp My Filter. In this video we're going to be taking a look at something that is a little bit different to what we've looked at before. And that's because it's almost a hybrid of two different filters. It is a hang on the back filter, but also it's a canister filter as well. This is it here. This is a Dennerle Scaper's Flow hang-on external filter. So it recognises the fact that it is a hybrid, it's hang on the back, but it's also a canister filter. Now this particular filter has actually got a very low flow rate. It's only 360 litres per hour, which is about 75 to 80 US gallons, maybe it's a little bit more. My maths is terrible, but you can look it up. 3.8 litres in a US gallon. You do the maths on that one. And it's rated for tanks between 30 and 120 litres. Again, 120 litres would be 30 to 35 US gallons or thereabouts. So it's for quite small tanks. But it does have a lot of good features and it packs in quite a lot of media. Let me show you how it works. Okay, that's our filter there. Now that basically just hangs on the back of your tank, just like an ordinary hang on the back filter would. But this sits well below the water line. Because it's a pressurised unit, you can get away with that. Draws water in here through a little sponge covered inlet. Goes through a series of trays and it spits back out to your tank. There you go, we've got a top down view. See how it hangs on there, it's got these little hangers that are detachable and that just keeps it nice and straight on the back of your tank. It opens up just the same way as a canister filter does, and the fittings are actually pretty good. I'm impressed with the overall build quality of this thing, to be honest with you. Okay, and in here we've basically got two removable trays. Okay, so without the main body of the filter on, that's how it would come set up. So your water would come in here, down, and it would just spread out along here. It would go down the sides of the trays and then it would rise up through the trays and back into the pump and out to your tank. On your intake of your pump there's a rubber seal and that presses into here to prevent any bypass. It basically has to suck water through the trays. Okay, these are the trays, and when it came it had nothing in this top tray. I think it's meant to have ceramic rings in there. I've just put BioHome Ultimate in for the time being, and in there I could fit 400 grams, which is just short of £1. That's a US imperial pound of BioHome Ultimate. And in the bottom it's set up how it would come from the manufacturer. Just a close up on the trays there, they actually fit together with little plastic clips there. So you just press on the side and take them apart. They do fit together very, very well. So I've explained what's in the top tray. In the bottom tray, basically all you've got is a thick, reasonably coarse pad, which actually does a pretty good job. That's a very, very good quality foam in there. And then on the top, you've got a cartridge, which has got like a plastic skeleton, and sandwiched between two bits of fine material is some carbon. Obviously that would need replacing every 7 to 8 weeks. So bottom tray mechanical, top tray biological. I actually laid those in very, very neatly. That's the only way I could get up to 400 grams in there. And if you fancied maxing it out even more, you could use some of the bio gravel, and you'll actually get 550 grams in here. Just. Okay, so that's a nice neat little cartridge to remove from this filter. Before I drop this back in, you might notice there's a little bit of space in the bottom, probably about that much, which isn't very much. You could get some tiny rings in there like the Eheim Mech. I personally don't think there's much point, but if you wanted primary settlement, that would be the place to have it. Drop that in. Put our top back on, which is actually pretty difficult unless this thing's hanging on the back, because you've got these removable hooks and you put them on, and then as you hang the thing on, they kind of slide up and lock it in position. See how that's locked in there? That makes it quite steady, so if you've got it hanging on the back of a tank, it's easy to drop this on. If it's not on the back of a tank, it makes these things a little bit floppy. Like that, you see? That's not ideal, but I do like the idea that they are removable. There, and the intake and the outlet pipes just lock into there. Now that is a pretty good self-contained filter, and everybody's got space for one of those on the back of the tank. Now I really like this filter. It's certainly better laid out than a lot of those very, very plasticky, clear hang on the back filters which don't get much in and rely on cartridge systems or revolving wheels or equally useless bloody things. This one actually is very, very useful, and if anybody's wondering about problems priming the pump with this sitting quite low on a tank, it's actually got a little removable cap here with a good seal in, so you just fill it up with water, put that back in as so, to make it pressurized, switch the pump on, and then because the pump has got water in it, it's got enough to push water out and therefore draw water in. It's really well thought out, really well made. It's got quite a large capacity for media, and if the truth be known, I wouldn't really change much about this. That's why I've just left the bottom section as it is, although there is another option with that. So if you remember, the bottom section just had a big lump of coarse foam and a pad. It's a very specifically shaped pad that you couldn't really buy another carbon and fine pad and cut it down, because it does have a hard plastic skeleton. That makes you reliant on buying pads. You could go with a layered approach. That's a coarse, medium and fine. And the coarse and medium are actually joined together to make like a sandwich effect, and that fits into the bottom tray very, very well. Like so. So really there's no need to buy the manufacturer's replacement parts. You can just do your own, just make them out of pond foams or big foams that are sold for aquariums. Basically just stuff you can cut down yourself. It'll save a lot of money. And if you want to put carbon in, you would just put it in a bag in the top of the top tray. So you'd go mechanical, biological, chemical, in exactly the right order. I will put this on a tank now just to show you exactly how it should be set up, but I'm not going to set it away because this is actually going to go back to a guy called Stuart who was good enough to send it up to me. Now this is actually a very, very neat system just for lifting straight off. You get a couple of little drips and that's it. There's no mess. There you go. Apart from the little bit of water coming out of here, there's barely a drip from this. And what that means is you can take it away to your sink, give it a good clean and bring it back with minimal mess. A few drips and that's it. Right, I'm going to get this thing pulled to bits now and sent back to Stuart, who'll be using it on his tank. But I may as well give you my closing thoughts on it before I package it up and get it back. I think it's a good filter. I really like the design of this. I don't generally like the idea of a hang-on filter because of the over-reliance on cartridges and so on, but this one, it basically just leaves it up to you. It comes with the cartridge, obviously. If you don't want to use that, you don't have to. It's not a really, really awkward shape with little things that you've got to slide in and out. It's basically just a canister filter that hangs on the back of your tank. Really, really well designed thing, which, given that Dennerle is a German company, probably shouldn't surprise you. I'll put the link to this in the video description and check it out. It may be a good one for you. More so if you've got a planted tank with a few fish. Because of the low flow rate, it's not going to pull in masses of fish waste. It's not an FX6 or anything like that, you know. It hasn't got a huge draw to draw in all the fish waste and uneaten food and particulate matter in the water. It's just a low impact filter to keep the water very, very healthy in a planted tropical tank. Now if anybody's wondering, that rock feature that was on that tank where I hung this is actually a filter. I'm not going to mention anything more about it in this video, but by the time this video is up, I certainly will have done a how-to video on that rock filter. That is something to behold. So check that out. I'll put the link to that in the video description. And if you or anybody you know has a filter of any sort that would benefit from being stripped down and put back together in the most efficient way, by all means please get in touch. My email address is in the video description, as is my phone number. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't forward all of the messages to me, so please use either the email or the phone. And at present I'm only taking people's filters from the UK due to the postage costs. If I start sending filters all the way around the world at my own cost, it's going to cost me an absolute fortune. It's going to cost me way more than it does to make this series of videos. But really for me, this series of videos is all about creating a huge database of filters in a video sort of form. So if anybody has this particular filter, hopefully this video might come up on Google. They'll be able to see exactly how the filter works and an example of how it can be optimized. This isn't the be all and end all, you know. There's numerous ways to make filters more efficient. I'm just offering you one option. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.